In this video, I'm going to rank every single Block Tales active card from worst to best, reveal which cards are secretly overpowered that most players ignore, and show you the one card that can completely carry your entire team through the hardest content in the game. But first, let me tell you about the card that everyone thinks is trash but actually has a hidden mechanic that makes it incredibly powerful in specific situations. Most players sell this card immediately, but by the end of this video, you'll understand why keeping it might save your entire run. The trap cards, F and D tier. Starting with the cards that waste your BP, we have what I call the trap cards. They look useful but are actually terrible choices. SP Wire sits at the bottom of F tier. Despite costing 0 BP to equip, it's worthless. All you do is trade 5 of your own SP to give to someone else. You can just use Bloxy Cola on your turn, which doesn't cost SP to use. This is only useful if you have no SP items left, but at that point you want to save your SP. Free Fire and Free Poison are also F tier. Enchanting your weapon to hit one enemy for damage over time is just a worse version of charge in every way. More enemies have immunity to burn than poison, but some enemies take double damage from burn. These enchant cards take up your entire turn. Why use this when you can deal damage and apply an effect with other cards? D tier, extremely situational. Bodyguard moves up to D tier because it can be decent if you build around it. The problem is that absorbing half the damage for a target isn't as good as giving that target half damage reduction with charge defense. This card just isn't worth making an entire build for. Free Ice is the only enchant card with some value. Being able to freeze an enemy is nice, but Snowball does the same thing while also dealing damage. Good Vibes seems useful on paper, forcing you to sleep while restoring everyone's HP and SP by 2 at the start of every turn. You even gain 50% damage reduction while sleeping, but not being able to guard still makes you take lots of damage, making this too risky. Sword Toss has one main use, if you're using Knight and don't want to use Dynamite on a flying enemy. It only costs 1 SP, but it's just a basic sword attack that can hit flying enemies. Moving into cards that actually have their moments, we reach the Situational Tools tier. C tier. Niche, but functional. Comatose inflicts sleep on the target, which can be useful. However, sleep can be interrupted by any source of damage. An okay card, but there are better options. Gorilla is our first summon card. Costing only 3 SP, this is the cheapest summon in the game. For its cost, its survivability is decent, and it's the only summon that can be resummoned after being defeated. But summoning 2 makes the cost equal to red and blue, and the gorilla's damage is low, a cheap meat shield, but not much else. Snowball is what Free Ice wanted to be. It inflicts freeze while applying extra damage all in one turn. The SP cost is a little high, but freeze is a solid effect. Don't rely on this though, as most bosses are immune to freeze. Infect has decent use against stronger enemies, with defense piercing and damage over time. However, you can only target the front enemy and can't hit flying enemies, making this situational. B tier, solid options. Softener is a nice card that reduces enemy defense and goes before other attacks to apply this debuff for your team. However, like Infect, this can only target the front enemy. If they have no defense, this card is useless. Good utility against specific enemies. Fireball is basically Infect, but more consistent. It can hit flying enemies and enemies behind the front one. This allows you to stack multiple burns, dealing damage over time to multiple enemies at once. Being able to deal damage on a tough enemy while you need to heal helps a lot. Line Bounce used to be meta in Demo 2. Now it's more balanced. It can only hit one target with a free effect, and charge doesn't increase its damage fully. For every subsequent hit, it loses 1 damage, not going lower than 2. Charge defense. Having damage taken sounds good, and it is. This outclasses Bodyguard heavily. You can use this solo and it's strong. Since you're the only target, you'll always be susceptible to being hit, producing lots of damage. Even with other players, this gives much more survivability. Prayer is the most random card in the game. It has the potential to heal all allies, buff everyone including enemies, and give negative debuffs. Random and costs 5 SP, but some effects are insanely good. Power Shot is nice in combination with Slingshot, giving users an option against targets with defense. It's a worse version of Power Stab though. Sure, it can hit any target including flying, but this costs BP and requires Slingshot. Against enemies with more than one defense, you have Dynamite. Red and blue for 6 SP have solid damage due to agility, allowing them to attack twice and deal up to 5 damage per turn. Their problem is survivability. They have no way to recover HP on their own, and if defeated, you can't resummon them. Great summon for lower cost, but don't expect them to stick around. Daze is underrated. Being able to hit an enemy with a strong effect while dealing half damage to the enemy behind is solid. In some cases, this deals more total damage than Power Stab. Dizzy makes an enemy only act about half the time, saving you from potential damage. Build Definers, the A tier. Now we reach cards that can define entire strategies. Sacrifice is a nice card that makes you take 5 damage per card while healing everyone else in the party for 5 damage per card. If you're confident in dodging or have lots of HP, this can be a solid way to heal your entire team. Only useful in a team of 4 though. Charge with only a single card isn't usually worth it, but with 3 cards, although expensive, if your build doesn't deal much damage, giving someone 6 extra damage for the next attack is huge. You can combo this with Line Bounce or Cruel King Scepter Strike for insane AoE damage. Launcher is reliable and performs consistently through the game. When hitting a target, they gain -1 defense debuff, helpful for Slingshot and itself. Without the defense debuff, it hits adjacent enemies for up to 3 damage too. Solid AoE option with good support utility. Cure is simple. For 2 SP, you heal someone for 5 HP. Solid trade-off that gets much better with multiple copies, healing 5 extra HP for 1 extra SP per copy, up to 25 HP with 5 copies. Still holds up even with Demo 4's better healing items. Power Stab is simple but effective. Being able to do 1 extra damage may not seem like much, but it helps against enemies and bosses, and the added defense penetration makes this skill strong. Sacrifice Plus is niche but useful when used correctly. Sacrificing yourself to heal everyone based on your current HP can be a lifesaver. If anyone's down when you use this, they automatically get revived too. Potential for the best healing in the game, but at the cost of all your HP. Calypso is decent with good survivability. Her flintlock deals 4 damage total in 2 shots, but defense reduces this quickly. Her cutlass combo deals 5 damage and pierces defense against non-flying enemies. Her main draw is survivability. Battlecry restores 10 HP and grants 50% damage reduction, making her the most survivable summon. Game Breakers, S tier. Finally, we reach the cards that fundamentally change how you approach Block Tales. Griefer is here because of survivability. He has the best defensive stats of any summon, with high HP and defense. His triple special deals 4 damage while inflicting poison and piercing all defense. He also has an alternate version of Bodyguard, protecting a player while granting himself the fine buff. A summon that can protect the player is better than one that protects itself. Minimize is underrated. When anything has the small debuff, it lowers their attack power by 2. In some cases, especially with multi-hit attacks, enemies become unable to damage you. This card is amazing for survivability and is a staple in hard mode runs. Cruel King is the strongest summon for offensive power. His Scepter Strike combined with Charge is devastating, dealing up to 9 damage on every enemy unless they're flying. Even without setup, it deals 3 damage AoE. He has the best AoE damage in the entire game. Feel Fine is amazing. The buff prevents you from getting negative statuses and gets rid of ones you already have. Being immune to debuffs while dispelling existing ones in the same action is unheard of. It's only single target, but with an effect this strong that barely matters. Cheap, easy to use, with massive impact. Resurrect is the most versatile card in the entire game. Although it costs 2 BP to equip, being able to save someone from death helps, especially when revival items are expensive. It also has a self-revive passive. If you have the SP needed to revive someone when downed, you'll automatically revive yourself once per battle. With 1 copy, this only costs 3 SP. You can use this card a surprising amount given its power. What makes these S tier cards special isn't just raw power, it's versatility. The best cards work in every situation, from solo play to team content, from easy fights to hard mode bosses. Lower tier cards aren't necessarily bad, they just have better alternatives or specific use cases. Sometimes a bad card becomes essential in the right situation, but the top tier cards are always useful. The secret to Block Tales deck building is understanding opportunity cost. Every card you equip takes up a slot that could hold something better. The S-tier cards earn their slots in every build because they solve fundamental problems that every player faces. The thing is, knowing which cards are powerful is useless unless you know how to build around them effectively. There are 3 specific card combinations that can make even C-tier cards incredibly strong, and one build strategy that works with almost any playstyle. Watch my complete Block Tales deep dive playlist next to learn these game-changing synergies that turn good cards into unstoppable combinations.